Hey besties, let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Hey besties, it's Behind the Shade with another video. Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 14, episode 4. A League of Their Own. Oh, I'm sorry, A League of Their Worst Enemy. The episode starts where Marge goes motorcycling with Joe, and they stop on the side of the road. They get cheeseburgers and onion rings and soda. And she's like, she's just like, I have to recharge from the weekend. And Joe's like, what happened? So, she's like, Jen Fessler is saying how she doesn't talk bad about Louis, but then she says she doesn't like him, and she acts one way in front of them in a different way, and she calls her weak sauce. Jen Fessler is just weak sauce. And then she discussed how Jackie came out with a book. She gave Jen Fessler a copy. She even sent a copy to Melissa, but she didn't send one to Marge. And Marge is like, "What's up?" She wanted to support Jackie, because Jackie was there for her when Jan died. She came to the funeral. She came to Jan's funeral, and she's mentioned how Jackie has not checked on her since the funeral. And it's been a year now, and Margaret is still sad. She's crying while Joe is holding her hand. And this is just like her ex-husband. She had kids with him. She got stepkids, and so she's replaying how the son called and told her to get to the hospital. Dad is in an ambulance. And she just said how she had to wait outside the hospital to tell her son that he died. And so we learned that Jan had a blood clot because he worked out, he was fit, he was in shape. And it's just so shocking that someone who can be fit, works out, loves being active, darn near an athlete, that you die. He had a blood clot and it went straight to his heart and killed him. Can I say that word? I need to learn the words that I can and cannot say. Bear with me, besties. I'm still new. Okay, I hope they don't get me. Joe says it's hard because he can't do anything to help Marge. And then, it hurts. She's crying. And so he gets up to console her and they hug. And so she reassures him, I'm going to cry like this when you die. And he laughs. He said, well, my grandma told me I was evil and I'm not going to die. Okay, so Rachel meets with Jen Fessler. That's how I'm going to start saying Jen Fessler. Because Rachel is hurt. It's been a week. She hasn't heard from Jen. So she called her and they met up. Where did they go to? Did they eat breakfast or something? Jen Fessler is just strictly looking at her and telling her, like, I just don't get it. What is she said? What are you so upset about? Like, and so Rachel's like, if someone attacks my family, like, Teresa has attacked her, she's like, she would get 0 from me. And so Jen Fessler said, I advocate for y'all. She said, I thought it was a victory that I was talking to her and that we understood and we got to talking and. And so Rachel says it's all BS and they are very disappointed. Her and John are disappointed. Jen Fessler says she doesn't draw blood like Margaret. She's a talker. And so Rachel told her to remove herself from this situation. And she was telling her, John and Louis need to talk. Jen agrees and asks, so don't talk about this? And she said, yes. And that's the same thing Marge told her like 2 episodes ago. Don't bring my name up. Don't mention me. Don't mention her to me. This is dead. but so Jen is like Rachel's level of upset with her just wasn't, she just did not understand it. And so Rachel says she is mourning the loss of their friendship, because it was so much closer and didn't have all this drama. And she said, because their friendship has changed. And so they, she was explaining like how the kids know and love her, and they treat Jen Fessler and her family, like they're more than friends. So they just decide they don't want to fight anymore. They love each other. And so Jen Aiden is having a dog party for Biscuit. Biscuit is turning 1. So I guess Jen Fessler asked Rachel, was she going to the dog party? And she said no. She's not cool with Jen Aiden. And no, she's cool with Jennifer Aiden, but she's not ready to see Teresa. Then we're at Jen Aiden's house, getting ready for the dog's birthday. So Dolores brings her dog. She has like a whole bunch of dogs between her mom, and did she say Frank? I think it's like 10 dogs. Most of them have names after food: potato, banana. Jen Fessler comes. She doesn't have a dog, but she has gifts. Jackie and her daughter come. I didn't see a dog, but they had gifts, I'm sure. Teresa brought Bella. Gia comes with her boyfriend, and she's been with her boyfriend for 5 years. Oh my gosh. And mentioned that the boyfriend works for Louis. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, he better have a plan B. Okay, so Jennifer Aiden's daughter, can't think of her name, she wanted to have a dog costume contest, and she had it specifically clear that Biscuit will win the competition. So all the dogs are dressed up and they're walking down the catwalk, and Biscuit wins. Jackie mentions that she wasn't invited to Nate's party. She mentions that again. All the girls are sitting down at a table, and I guess they're eating lunch. Now, Danielle and her family are in the Dominican Republic, and Jen's friend, what's her name? Lita. She's sitting there. She owns a hair salon. So she's telling a story how she had an incident with Danielle, and something about she opened up her hair salon to do Danielle's hair for some event. And they get to the event. She bought tickets, but she didn't have a pink wristband for the VIP, and they wouldn't let her into the VIP section. And it's kind of like, hey, remember me? So they went and talked to Danielle, and they came back and said Danielle said she couldn't come in. And it was like, I just opened up my salon on my off day, did your hair, maybe some others, and now I buy tickets to come to your event, and I can't sit up in the VIP? What? So then Teresa asked, I think they asked, was Margaret coming? And so Teresa asked, who was Joe going to bring, Margaret or the real dog? And everybody's looking like, what? Huh? Talk about bad timing and a bad joke. So pretty much Teresa's calling Margaret a dog. Terrible. It didn't land, sis. It did not land. Jen Aiden said she invited Rachel too. And I was like, why didn't she come? And so here go Jen Fessler because of Teresa. Oh God, Jen, you just don't get it. So she tells them about the powwow and at Melissa's house, and they're mad because her and Teresa hugged at the end of their talk. And so Gia, 22-year-old Gia, is sitting at the table with the ladies, and she has input. And Gia, yeah, you've been grown a long time. You've been on our screen since you was a kid, and you've always been too grown. And she still is too grown. Be careful. I'm surprised she was sitting at the table, but where else is she gonna go? She probably grew up even more when her parents went to jail. So Gia says that Margaret and Rachel seem territorial. Um, and so Dolores is like, she in her confessional, she's in the twilight zone. She trying to figure out how Jackie and Teresa cool when Jackie wanted Teresa dead, unalive. She wanted Teresa unalived, and now they're gonna seem like they about to make out at the table. Jen Fesser tells the table that she wants John and Louis to talk. Dolores says they can talk at her game. This is her third year battle for Brooklyn. It's a charity event. I forgot what she was raising money for. Was it cancer? I think it's cancer. Um, so she said they could talk at my event. Teresa knows her husband will behave, but she doesn't trust John Fuda. Gia says, well, John says that Louis is a good guy. It's just that people are making him do and say ugly things. Ain't nobody making that grown man do or say ugly things. He has control over himself. He's doing and saying ugly things because he's an ugly person. Red lobster, fuchsia hot pink, magenta lobster. Anyway, um, Jen Fester says all this roots back to Teresa and her brother. And Teresa says nothing. She said nothing. And Gia was like, nah, nah. Oh, goodness. Brainwashed. Jen lightens things up. And she's like, let's have cake. It's time for dessert. Let's have cake. Let's lighten things up. Yeah, it's getting heavy at that table, honey. So the Gorgas take Antonia to college. We know she's going to, is it she going to Michigan or is it the other one? Anyway, they're heading to college. Joe is freaking out because the dorms are co-ed, child. The little boys outside waiting on them to pull up. They got they're going to help them move in. So he was just like, when I was that age, when I saw legs, it was like a fox wanting to attack a chicken. So he was like, I'm going to be like Louis and get a private investigator to follow her everywhere. And he's cracking up. So they move her in. She knows her dorm mate. They grew up. They're friends already. They put the room together and they looked really cute afterwards. And they were crying when they had to say goodbye to her. She's like walking off with her room, like, bye, okay, bye. And they're just sitting there needing therapy. But this is the first baby to leave the nest, and it's emotional because I'm sure those 18 years went by really fast. So Danielle is at home getting ready for the New York Fashion Week. And none of her family will be there. Nate's dad passed away. And now his mom, she lives in Massachusetts and she doesn't like to travel. Her mom booked a cruise, so she's going to be out of town. And she doesn't talk to her brother or her dad, so they're not going to be there. So then they flash to everybody at their home getting ready for the baseball game. Dolores has sold 4,000 tickets. She did 3,300 last year, so that's good. And she has raised 125K, and it is for the cancer center. But she says she had people that were coming in that were going to give money when they got there. Louis says Louis tells John sorry. Or Louis says that John should just say he's sorry, it's over, and that's it. Or he's telling Melissa, or he will finish this fight. And it's like, why do you like being so activated? I don't get how you just fell in love with Teresa. Teresa got all this drama, and you just jump in and you just having a ball with all this drama. It seemed like you being the man should be mending these relationships that Teresa got you in. But no. So anyway, um so Melissa and Jennifer Aiden don't talk because Jen shades her because of Teresa. She's a little Teresa minion. So in the locker room, honey, it got hot and heated, hunty. Margaret came to not play one game. So in the locker room, Margaret tells Danielle, oh, how she missed the puppy party. And Danielle was like, you went? She was like, no. And so Danielle and Jackie hugged. And so she asked Jackie who invited her. And Jackie said, I'm friends with Jen. And she said, the only person that I'm not friends with is you. I'm like, wow, Jackie, dang. These Jersey girls, they be activated. So Paul, did y'all see Paul's jersey said Paul Loris? I thought that was cute. I love it. Paul Loris. It's cute, huh? Guys, let me know what we rating this episode. It was pretty good to me. So when when Jackie said the only person that I'm not friends with is you, Marge's face had me rolling. Jen didn't tell Danielle. Jen was like, didn't I tell you? Oh, brother. Jackie said they have been friends since 2018. And did you see Marge's facial expression? She is not here for it. Jackie says they're not friends because she wasn't invited to the party. Jackie and Danielle wasn't close. Jackie tells Marge that she doesn't take her side on anything. Margaret says, I've been taking up for you your whole life. Then tells Jackie she missed Jan's 1 year death. That she missed Jan's 1 year not on Earth anniversary. Jackie was like, wow, I didn't realize that. Did you post about it? And Margaret said, no, like, if she posted about it, you would have saw it. And then you wouldn't be having this conversation. And everybody doesn't share their grief on social media. The point is, you friends in real life, you need to do real life friend things like check on your friends. Okay, going to the funeral, that's one part of it, but check in on your friends. So Marge is telling her about everybody who has called her. Like she said, Dolores has called me 3 times this week and blah, 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 blah. Did you post about it? And she said, you know why Jen Fester and everyone calls? Because they check on me. And so then Margaret brings up the book. And she's like, Jen got the book 6 months ago. And that's what Jack said, that was 6 months ago. She said, yeah. And then you gave one to Melissa. And so Margaret was like, I championed for your book. And so then Jackie is like, are you trying to say that if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done the book? I wouldn't have had the book like you did? That's not what she was saying, girl. Champion, she's trying to support you and she would want to be there and she wants to be a part of your success. And so then Jackie kind of plays it off like, girl, my mother, he hasn't even read it yet. And then Margaret says, that's not surprising. So Jackie's like, wait. Don't get in too deep now. Talking about my mama. What you mean by that? So Jackie says the writing that book changed her. And she was like, Margaret doesn't need a copy of my book. And I understand what Jackie is saying about certain things you go through life, certain lessons, journeys, they change you. Writing that book, like she said, it changed me. She ain't here to play no more. Even like with Margaret, Jan passing, probably has changed her. There's things that we go through in life that changes us. We don't stay the same. Growing pains, trauma. I mean, there are things that make us different than what you're used to us being, and there's nothing we can do about it but support and be there for one another. How about that? That's all Margaret is asking. She said the writing changed her. Margaret says she just can't do it. I just can't do this. And Jackie was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Who's begging you to do it? I was like, I'm here for it. I am here for the Jackies and the Tishas from Love and Marriage Huntsville that are now, they are, honey, they are speaking up. They are not letting people be aggressive. They are not taking no more digs. No more jabs. No more. I'm here for it. And so Jackie is just like, I'm so shocked at your behavior. That's what Margaret tells Jackie. And then she walks out the locker room, they're ready to go on the field. And she's like, you are just so self-centered. And I'm kind of like, I get you, Margaret, but baby, Margaret. Come here, Margaret. I just have a little something to tell you. Your grief that you are experiencing belongs to you, not Jackie. Okay? If you needed her, you can reach out to her and ask, and tell her. You can reach out, but nobody can take the pain from you. Nobody could experience it for you, but they can be there. And I'm sure people feel like, because they don't know when to talk to you or address it or mention it. They don't know because they don't know what state you're in. And and the last thing somebody wants to do is, I said, if you're grieving, right? And I say you're having a good day. They don't want to be the ones that call you with the, how you feeling how you thought about, they don't know and they don't want to ruin your day. So Margaret, it is okay to call and talk. It is okay. I've had to do that with some grief that I had to go through. I would call, people would text and check on you for sure. But sometimes, real talk, that sometimes those texts would depress you because you know why they're texting you. But when I needed to talk, I had a friend I could call on anytime and she answered every time. So don't be mad at people for what they're not doing. That doesn't mean they're not thinking about you, and it doesn't mean they're not praying for you. But at that big age, you should know how to pick up the phone and talk. Call her and talk to her. Just call her. Come on. Like, let's be graceful. Give people grace. People going through stuff. Jackie went through her thing with the what do you call it, the eating disorder, and she looks good with her weight on her. She looks good. So you got to stop that, Margaret. Come on. Self-centered, we can say that about you. So after they walk out, Teresa and Melissa walk in, honey. They're in the locker room. And what I liked about Melissa is she made sure her son kissed and hugged his auntie. So he went and hugged Teresa and he hugged Gia. Rachel can't play because her RA is flaring up. And so she talks about that again. And the girls' form is... The girls form, and someone asked, can they ask what that was about? Anyway, Jackie was saying how she doesn't feel like she can't be friends with someone because someone else isn't friends with them. Then Margaret goes to Jen Fessler and says she's hurt. If that's who you want to associate yourself with, Fine, I just can't see it for you. Jen Fesser's like, what? Because she don't have understanding. Jen doesn't have an understanding about any of this. She's a talker. Jen says she's nice to who's nice to her. She doesn't have to. She says she doesn't have the mechanisms to look for trouble. She understands where they stand. Margaret says she can't connect with people like that. She can't do it. Um, then we see Joe Gorga over there having a good talk with Bill. They're playful and laughing and all that. So Jennifer Aiden feels like he's not supporting her by jiving over there with Joe. Melissa talks to Jennifer Aiden and Bill and was like, let's talk. You can come over my house or I can come over there. Or we can go out to lunch or go to coffee. We can have a completely different relationship, than, with no association of Teresa. Um, and she says, and after we talk, and if you decide you don't want to be cool with me, you could just tell me that. She was like, just tell me you hate my guts. And she said, yeah, you could come to my house, blah, blah, blah. Joe doesn't have to be there. And she was like, yeah, I would like to, I would come over and I would like for Joe not to be there. That would be cool. And so I think they decided to go, they're going to go to lunch. I think that's what they decided. And so they're going to talk and call and hook up. And then the game, the Housewives, that's what I'm going to call them, they were losing. It was like 1-4. And so all of a sudden, Joe hits, someone else hits the ball. I think it may have been Evan. I'm not sure. And then one of Joe Gorga's sons hit the ball. And then Louie. And they all get home, do the home base. They all hit all bases and make it home. And they won the game. It was 5-4. And Dolores raised over $200,000. She beat her goal. And so I didn't go back to go back to when Jackie was saying how she not putting up with nobody's mess, how the book changed her. And she said, I forgot this part. She was saying how, she faults herself because she always let Margaret think that Margaret was higher than her, like Margaret was up here and like she was down here, and she let Margaret feel like she was a part of her entourage, but no more. She's not a part of the Margaret entourage anymore. And I like when people decide to stand up for themselves and they decide that they're just not going to put up with people's mess anymore, because you shouldn't have to put up with people's mess. People need to stop being mess. So that was the end of that episode. Yeah. It was good. Real Housewives of New Jersey is doing very well, even with Melissa and no Teresa, no interaction. But you can't even, I like it. I like it. Back to the locker room part when Teresa and Melissa and Joe came in there. And so, Teresa was looking at Joe and trying to give him a reaction because she wanted him to react. And he didn't. And that's just so sad because you can tell that they miss each other. Come on, your only brother, and I just hope for this family that they can get back cool again. I really want that for them. I'm sure their parents do. It's just like, wow, it makes you want to go back and try to remember like what actually happened. And I know it's a lot about Melissa and jealousy and blah, 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 and rah, but it happens. It happens in families, and that's the way it goes. But I would love to see them reconnect. Genuinely. Okay. All right, besties. That is the end of this review. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. It's free to do. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.